It all originated from natural products, plant-based extracts, microbial extracts, which has been utilized for what is biotechnology. Biotechnology is basically related to the use of molecules which are more protein-like products or small molecules that the body generally produces as a defense mechanism. These are inherent molecules that have been studied in the molecular mechanisms that involve in the Vedic literature at that point of time, might not directly relate to a particular disorder as what we call today. What modern medicine did is use the knowledge of Ayurveda, pull out certain of these plants individually, used modern technologies of chemical fingerprinting, and identified that each one of these plant extracts got technology has multiple areas in which it can perform. In diagnostics, there are a lot of little sensitive tests that are made, extremely sensitive and require a very small amount of your biological sample for testing.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Ec Talks, our inclusive talks on different issues that concern the Indian business paradigm, that concerns the world at the moment, and how we can explore these verticals and make an equal universe for all. So welcome to Ec Talks, and today we are addressing a very, very interesting topic, the topic of healthcare. Healthcare has been in the focus areas, in the priority sectors of India for a long time. But of late, the world is looking to India as an important destination for research, for development, and for innovation leading to healthcare services. And today we have a very, very interesting expert in the subject matter. We have the Chief Innovation Officer for OmniActive Health Technologies. I'm Dr. Arun Balakrishnan. Doctor, thank you for joining Ec Talks, and we are very excited to know about the health technologies that are coming over and are out there to redefine the healthcare segment in the year to come. What I really see is that there is a lot of chatter about nutraceuticals becoming an important vertical within the health tech paradigm. So for the layman out there, what is the core difference between nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, and biotech? And how should one define it and understand it well?
Thank you, Supriyo. I'm very excited to do podcast with you. And the interesting aspect about nutraceutical is that it all originated from natural products, plant-based extracts, microbial extracts, which has been utilized for building new products that can help in the prevention of diseases, rather. The major difference between a nutraceutical intervention in healthcare is that nutraceutical looks at healthy individuals and prevents the onset of any particular disorder that is related to age, that can be related to general environmental hazards, which can have negative effects on your different parts of the body. Therefore, using natural products was the major development process for creating products that will help in preventing the onset of these conditions. So in pharma, it's more a drug intervention. Pharma involves the use of a single pure molecule, which is then converted into a drug. And this drug works on a single target that is related to the biology of the disease. Pharma is generally used to prevent to treat a disease rather than to prevent it. And it may involve certain molecular markers that are present in the cells that are attacked by these chemical molecules and thereby reversing the disease condition. What is biotechnology? Biotechnology is basically related to the use of molecules which are more protein-like products or small molecules that the body generally produces as a defense mechanism. These are inherent molecules that have been studied in the molecular mechanisms that involve in the regulation of normal growth as well as during a disease. And what people have done is, using these technology platforms like biotechnology, are able to produce these small molecules, which are protein-like or peptide-like molecules, in larger volumes in a platform which is generally that can be taken up into a bioreactor. Examples, there are E. coli platforms, there are yeast-based platforms, there are eukaryotic platforms. So some of the genes are inserted into those microorganisms, and therefore these microbes start producing the particular protein of interest. Examples are like insulin, which initially was obtained from pancreas, can be produced by recombinant DNA technology into a microbe and carried out in huge bioreactors. So it's a technology platform, and biotechnology also extends to different areas like diagnosis of a disease. It can also get into areas like treatment of cancers and also certain genetic disorders which are otherwise not treated by any chemical or any other method which we currently have.
So it's very interesting, actually, what you just told me. The world is looking towards better health. The world is moving towards, preventive cures, preventive medicine. And therefore, nutraceuticals would be the first step towards it, while pharmaceutical and biotechnology would be something that is much advanced and much later. But nutraceutical would be something that would provide you the preventive cure and make your immunity get strong, if that's what I understand from this, right? So here's a curious question. Our culture, our millennial culture that we have, has often propagated natural medicines like Ayurveda. How much of Ayurvedic integration is there within nutraceutical, or are these considered as two very different streams altogether?
I think this is a very important and very good question to address, because if you look at traditional medicine, either Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, or any other traditional medicine, they are very old, more than 3,000 years old, and people in that area of work have identified plant-based products or microbial-based products, which is given as an extract. And this is extracted using certain platforms which they have created, which contains the total plant extract, or a root or a stem or a leaf, which is then integrated with multiple different plant extracts for a particular purpose of treatment of a disease. Now, what Ayurveda has done is, when modern science started investigating on these plant-based products, they realized that whatever is stated in Ayurvedic literature at that point of time might not directly relate to a particular disorder as what we call today.
Of course,
it's a broad category. So what people have seen is that, for example, if you take an Ayurvedic concoction, which contains about 20 different extracts for immunity. There are 20 different plant extracts. Each plant extract is weighed and converted into a particular format, which is administered either as a liquid or in the form of tablets in Ayurveda. But these work holistically with multiple ingredients present in them. Now, what modern medicine did is use the knowledge of Ayurveda, pull out certain of these plants individually, used modern technologies of chemical fingerprinting, and identified that each one of these plant extracts got hundreds of different chemistries in them. And some of these chemistries were exactly responsible to do the job which was related to a particular disease that was interpreted by the Ayurvedic science. So there is a parallel that in Ayurveda, their sciences are different. but it worked against treating a disorder. While we, in the modern science, started investigating using our modern tools, we came up in chemical fingerprinting, deciphering it at a much level, molecular level, and still found a relationship. So this integration of traditional knowledge is a must for many of the sciences in pharmaceutical industry, where we get scaffolds from them. These drug-like scaffolds are converted by chemists into drug-like molecules, which are then goes into the whole treatment regime and through the clinical study processes. In nutraceutical, we are in between Ayurveda and modern pharmaceutical sciences. What we do is that we have a purified extract. We concentrate an extract. The fingerprints of that extract is fully known. We then relate the molecules that are responsible to treat a wellness area. For example, it's a joint pain. It's an immunity, as you mentioned earlier. These are all working at different cells in the body. These are working at different molecular mechanisms in the body. And what we as nutraceutical researchers do is take this extract, fingerprint it chemically, identify what particular fingerprints are available, related to the science and the biology on whether this could be used for immunity area or a joint health area, or for energy or for neuronal sciences. So a single extract may have multiple chemistries in them, could be applied to different areas of research.
Okay. So what consumer trends within the nutraceutical innovation area have you seen of late?
So some of the areas which I can just quickly refer to is there is a lot of interest in prevention of a disease, performance. Performance, it could be improved physical and mental conditions. It can be you lack energy, and then you may want some plant extract, maybe even a pharmaceutical drug, but people prefer plant, for which I will give you the reasons a little later on. And for wellness. Wellness is something which is most important today is aging. And as you age, you need to, there are a lot of issues that can creep in because of your age and because of some other disorders that might have set into you and has created certain damages in your joints, for example. So aging in a way that can be protected so that you don't get the symptoms, and this transition between wellness to a disease can be prevented by consuming some amount of nutraceutical products.
Wonderful. And when we are talking about demand, these are there are demand drivers which are often led by lifestyle diseases and lifestyle requirements. So, have you seen any commonplace trends that are defining this market? Of course, when I talk about defining market is when all of a sudden we see the market inundated with a certain style of product. I am seeing a lot of probiotic elements coming into the market all of a sudden, and this is a trend that's happening. So what's your take on that?
So two important takes. One, before I get into the area of probiotic, the reason for which, as I mentioned earlier, age is a critical criteria where a lot of disorders start creeping in, and this transition can be prevented by using some of the nutraceutical products that can help alienate these conditions, which can ultimately lead into a disease-like condition. So aging population preventive health care is something people are all talking about, because today people have realized that dietary habits play a very important role to prevent or improve the wellness of your body. And from our current conditions of work, we're getting further and further away from good nutritional habits, as a result of which some of these supplements don't reach your body to the extent it has to reach. And this is where nutraceutical can play a very important role. some of these supplements. For example, there is a product called lutein, which is very important to help prevent the onset of certain eye disorders, particularly like AMD or other ocular diseases that happen. This generally comes from leafy vegetables, carrots, and a lot of other juices which can provide carotenoids. Due to our dietary habits, these are going far away, and supplements of lutein has become a very big transitional point in prevention of healthcare, and a lot of science has been done by many people, and I'm proud to say that our company, OmniActives, has helped build these products which are globally present and has helped in creating a very interesting space for ourselves in the eye health category.
So what scientific validation do you think is critical for the overall acceptance of nutraceuticals?
Every product today requires a lot of modern science interventions. The reason I say modern science is that people need to understand how this product works in your body, what are the chemical constituents that are present in this particular extract, that as a biologist we are able to show that these extracts are the ones that work in the desired manner as represented by modern science. Because every disease or every aspect of wellness is driven by certain cellular markers within the cell, and if these are not behaving the way it should behave, the normal cell transitions itself out into a disease condition. So the nutraceutical will try to work in an area that will prevent this transition. One. Second, there are a lot of environmental factors that help in that we are exposed to. For example, blue light, computers, is well known to damage your ocular cells, particularly retinal cells. And what we have seen is some of these carotenoids play a very important role to filter out the blue light naturally. Similarly, many of these small vitamins which we take, we don't go to the sun, we have a decrease in vitamin D in our body. These supplements are very critical for us to drive ourselves naturally. But it's our current environmental factors that prevent us from leading a sedentary life and not getting exposed to enough sunlight, which is desired for the human system.
So for a layman, all these vitamins that people usually take, the cod liver oils, the small little fish liver, fish oil supplements, and different kind of supplements, vitamins that people take as pill form, they would be considered part of the nutraceutical
yes. They are like the nutraceutical industry generally produces not only plant-based extracts but also these kind of products from different sources that can be utilized for multiple reasons, where the science of these products, how it works, is also well recognized scientifically. So one is, every product is to be driven by fundamentally strong science, strong data, and also animal studies if needed, and human clinicals. Unless these parameters are passed and the data is available, we cannot take it into an international global market, which is regulated by multiple different regulatory bodies. And if we don't provide this information, it is difficult for us to convert this science into a product that can be sold.
So, very interesting. Over the last few questions, one word or one phrase has come up over and over again, and that is cellular marker. So getting a little bit more technical, of late, one more technical word has made its round, and more of it is integrating itself in different aspects of our industry, and not just pharma and biotech, but also in other aspects of industries, and that word is nanotechnology, right? How is nanotechnology affecting drug delivery, and how is it helping nutraceutical innovation?
So nanotechnology has multiple areas in which it can perform. In diagnostics, there are a lot of little sensitive tests that are made using nanotechnology platforms, extremely sensitive and require a very small amount of your biological sample for testing. Second, nanotechnology is also used in formulations. One of the areas where in nutraceutical industry, if you look at how nanotechnology performs, nanotechnology helps in building products in extremely small sizes. And if you look at any plant-based extract, one of the fundamental problems we have is its absorption. If anything is to act in our system, it has to be absorbed from the gut, it has to get into your bloodstream, and then it has to go to the different cells, and particular cells will contain, as I said, cellular markers, may have certain target receptors in them where these particular molecules go and reside and bind to. These are all identified and determined when we study the pathogenesis of a particular condition. And we know for that condition, we need these kind of molecules to go and reside and work on the cell intracellularly or on the surface of the cell, trying to block further damages on the cell.
How fascinating.
So, the cells per se function in a way that each signal is transmitted from one cell to the other, not physically, but through chemical signals or intracellularly.
How interesting, my goodness.
And nanotechnology plays a role in improving absorption and also in building products that can directly target such molecular signals or markers which are present intracellularly, so that it can permeate through the membrane of the cell and penetrate inside.
It's so fascinating to see science develop itself and grow to such large extent. On that note, I would like to understand, how is India's innovation-led discoveries performing on a global scale? How is the world looking at India for nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals? And what is the scope for foreign companies to come and work over here? Should they, shouldn't they? What are the challenges? And the same thing vice versa for Indians to go abroad.
So to address your question, the first important point is how nutraceutical industry is growing. Nutraceutical industry has been growing pretty strongly across the globe, and overall reach is expected to be more than 500 billion US dollars, and this is expected to increase. The reasons for that are plenty. People seem to have an understanding that nutraceutical products are plant-based or natural product-based, and either it may be a single ingredient or it may be multiple plant extracts working together, but it has nothing else other than them. The science that has gone in.
And earlier we had spoken about, now that you're talking about bioenzymes and biopesticides, earlier we were talking about probiotics. What would be a simple understanding of probiotics? How are they integrating themselves in the nutraceutical fields? And what are the innovative trends that you've seen in the probiotics arena?
Probiotics is well regarded for years together, particularly in gut health.
Yes, of course.
Lactobacilli is one thing that has been widely used. Modern science uses lactobacilli along with very strong antibiotics. And all these have been proven to provide sufficient amount of protection for the gut lining against any particular drug. Many of the chemotherapeutic agents do destroy your gut lining, but doctors also prescribe many other forms of probiotics to prevent these kind of destructions and thereby minimize these toxicity effects of the main drug for the individual. There are also fibers from which are used as for your stomach health, for preventing constipation, which also is linked with probiotics together and improves the wellness of your stomach in terms of digestion, in terms of breakdown of some of the proteins, meats that might not be easily digestible by elderly people. Some of these enzymes are also provided through this particular microbial route to the individual. But what is more important is that over the years, there's a lot of link in a subject called as microbiome, which has been there for years, which is now picked up in a very big way. And gut microbiome, understanding your own individual gut microbiome, has become a very important aspect in modern science as well as in nutra industry. So these are critical in improving what you call as digestive patterns in the individual, along with any plant-based extracts or just by probiotics. So this mixture of plant-based extracts, for example, like ginger. Ginger is well known in traditional medicine for nausea, but we have studied ginger for what you call as occasional constipation. This together with probiotics can help in alienating or improve some of the symptoms you find in all of us in early digestive disorders or conditions that we fall into.
So, if we are talking about health tech and health innovations, something that has really come up in a very strong manner over the last few years are the wearable devices. Wearables are really becoming more and more important on our daily lives. You, me, we are all wearing wearables in some form or the other. As the Chief Innovation Officer, how have you seen this trend evolve? And how has it integrated itself into the nutraceutical as well as the biotechnological sector? And how has it kind of changed the way we live?
So wearable devices are widely used in the nutra as individuals, wearing some app on your hand and then trying to evaluate all your patterns of your daily routine, and interventions are created accordingly. A lot of us go through mood-related problems. Now, there are a lot of plant extracts that help in improving these conditions of your mood. Okay, now what people have done is, in many of the studies which people generally work on, when I say studies, the human clinical studies, we have a set pattern of questionnaires where you can record an individual during different points of your clinical study. So that's how, you see, when we develop something new, it goes into human clinical study, and we need to understand multiple patterns on how this particular product is affecting the individual in improving his overall anything related to mood swings, wellness. There are multiple approaches which clinicians do along with the clinical trial experts in trying to build databases. So at the end of the clinical studies, we also have incorporated into some of our new product wearable devices, which also give you not only a questionnaire but also give you valid interpretations of some of the mood patterns, which is recorded in many wearable devices that are also validated and approved by US FDA. This helps us to correlate both academic kind of a questionnaire which is generally collected, plus data that is generated by a wearable device. So there the wearable devices help nutraceutical product development very much. In fact, in some of our new products which we are developing, we are utilizing these kind of approaches to come up with data that will help a common man understand that here there is black and white image or picture that is available of how my product works.
Very.
Yeah, because this actually helps a common individual who wants to consume this product. Yeah, I have some information which I can take, rather than too technical, scientifically validated data, which people as a customer scientist will understand better.
Earlier, you were also mentioning about genomics and bioprinting. What is bioprinting, and how is it influencing the effectiveness of nutraceutical discoveries?
Genomics plays a very important role. Today, the human genome data is available in very large numbers. Many people are working on it for very specific areas of work. That's a huge database that is available for scientists working in diseases for years together, and it will continue because it's so much data. Then we have proteomics, which is conversion of these genome data to protein translations that are also very important in understanding the pathogenesis or pathophysiology of a disease. Now, interventions like drug-based interventions or nutraceutical interventions can be validated using these databases that are available in the scientific community. Now, what does it do? It helps you. Say, for example, today there are people getting your DNA fingerprint of your nutraceutical database. Just by giving a little amount of saliva, they can fingerprint large number of genes. There are a lot of companies which are doing this in biotech industry for two reasons. One, it can help a doctor identify any particular disorder you have, which is genetically related and can be addressed by a drug in place. And also it can create a huge database, of population-based database across the globe, because there is population variations. A Caucasian may behave differently to an Asian population, and that's well recorded in pharmaceutical industry in certain drugs. So these are all knowledges that are continuously being generated by scientific community working in academics and in industry, building this knowledge base. It's for the future. Now, this nutraceutical industry has also come up with this kind of data, which tells you what kind of nutritional supplements you need to take to help you address certain questions in your body. So it's kind of predicting tailor-made prescriptions for an individual. How easy it is going to be for a pharma industry to make tailor-made products for you, or for a nutra industry to make tailor-made products, is something we need to watch. But it's a direction that clearly shows that certain populations may work in a different way from another. So that doesn't mean that if a clinical study is done in India with an Indian population, it's going to be completely different from the Western. You will have some outliers, and genomics will help you identify these outliers. So people think that, you see, if you look at why India is getting stronger in pharma, is because of the technology platforms that are available in India, both in academics and also in the industry. In Nutra, it's the same thing. There are a lot of big companies in India, and I'm proud to say that we are the leaders of building products driven by very strong science, globally accepted. There are many examples. I don't want to name them, but you can always look back in your data in the public domain. You will find the kind of research that has gone into building many of our products that are marketed globally, and has helped us to retain that leadership position.
That makes me feel very happy because global acceptance is all what we need for our global footprints to grow. And on that note, I would kind of drive towards our conclusion, and would like to know what do you foresee as the chief innovation trends that are going to come across in the coming year in this space? How do you define the evolution of this industry in the years to come?
I think this industry is poised to grow bigger. The reason being, as I mentioned earlier, I still think it's the aging population. There are a lot of consequences that come in because of aging, not only in the males but also in the females. And women health has become a very important segment in administering nutraceutical products that help in transitioning this change from a premenopausal to a postmenopausal women. So these are all trends that help us to prevent the onset of any condition which otherwise would, destroy an individual or age an individual rather rapidly. Another important area will be in the neurobiology area, because all of us know that as we age, there is a number of levels of dementia that sets in. For some people, it is rapid. For some people, it can take longer, and it takes much longer to actually see a visible impact. But if there are methods that can help us to diagnose this transition and give preventive care, which probably is related to some of the nutritional supplements, or there are many plant products that are known in traditional medicine that help improving these or reverse these conditions early on, rather than it exceeds to a symptomatic stage when repair becomes difficult.
So, considering that this is a highly technical subject, and considering that more and more international companies are looking at India with a lot of interest, how important it is for foreign companies to engage with local experts, how important it is for them to actually have the right experts steering them, orienting them, and mentoring them when they plan to come to India.
Right now in the Nutra industry, if you look at, there are a lot of Indian companies. Basically, many Indian companies have been able to enter this space, building products for global requirements.
Yeah.
One. The second is, many of the global companies use many of our industries in India for two reasons. One is availability of many of these extracts, supply chain, converting these extracts into products. There are people who only do that. They probably don't value add by science and developing it to the way I had narrated earlier for some of our products, but rather sell an extract. Okay, and in many cases, we people like us build the product by value addition of science, invest on it heavily to convert it into clinical. These kind of products are widely accepted and goes into the integration of a capsule or a tablet or a drink in the American markets or across the globe. Many of the American or international pharma companies, nutraceutical companies, are also looking at India as a space for building these products and have a subsidiary in India that can take it for global acceptance. You will see many such chain transformations happening as years go on, just like how we did in pharma. And Nutra is a rapidly growing industry.
So, wrapping up our conversation, it has been extremely interesting. What I wanted to understand one last time is, if foreign companies are to enter India, what kind of association, what kind of doors should they knock at? What kind of assistance can they expect, and who should they address?
The nutraceutical industry is driven by a group of entrepreneurs who are well known in the Indian field and also globally. So people like organizations and people like Sanjay Mariwala
Yeah.
is an example who has been a domineering feature in bringing up the growth of this industry. His knowledge, his background, and his connectivity, both in the private sector as well as with the government agencies, which are the ones which regulate the production, will be widely useful as a platform for us to take things forward. With a group like Equiverse, which will help us to connect with foreign partners who are interested in coming to India to build these products, either in a collaborative manner, or use some of our knowledge base and technology platforms which we have built over the last few years into a commercial requirement of converting some of their products into a value-added product, which will be far superior than what they have built ever.
Of course. And on that note, thank you very much, Doctor. This has been extremely, extremely insightful. And I think we should do another session which will be a little bit more technologically inclined, and I think focus more on biotech, because there are so many questions I have, and I would love to know so much more about this field. And on that note, I wrap up this very interesting session with Dr. Arun Balakrishnan on nutraceuticals and how it is redefining the healthcare industry. This is Talks signing off from Equiverse. This is Supriya Bose. Thank you very much.